This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, a very warm welcome to this Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager online training session. Okay, so I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kashif. I am having more than 13 years of experience. Plus, I have trained more than 13,000 students globally. I have expertise on SCCM, Intune, Active Directory, application packaging, Azure, PowerShell. I am a BSc IT graduate. I did my graduation from Mumbai University, and these are my website, blog address, and email address. Now, the training duration, 35 hours in total, and that will take 4 weeks to finish all the topics. Every day we will do 1.5 hour session, Monday to Friday. And these are the historical details of SCCM, started from SMS, System Management Server, then Microsoft changed the name to SCCM, and then MECM. Last year they changed the name from SCCM. So previously SMS, then SCCM, and then last year they changed the name to MECM, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. The latest and greatest version of MECM is 2010. MECM 2010. That was released in the month of October this year. It started from 1994, and now the latest and greatest version is this. So almost like 25 years this product is there in the market. Now we have three sites: central administration site, primary site, and secondary site. Yesterday we had discussed about it a little bit. You know, what is central administration site, what is primary site, what is secondary site. I will share the recording with Ola and Karthik. So yesterday we did the overview session of these sites, wherein we discussed, the central administration site, the capability of central administration requirement, and the benefit, plus primary site and secondary site. Now today we will discuss about site roles. There are three site roles in it. There are many site roles in SCCM. Okay, these are the site roles in SCCM: management point, distribution point, software update point. Now, what are these site roles? We will discuss about these site roles one by one. So first of all, there are three sites in SCCM. As I mentioned earlier, the sites are: first one is central administration site, the second one is primary site, and the third one is secondary site. Now this one is optional, this one is mandatory, and this one is optional, right? Central, primary, and secondary. Now suppose you have started a company. Let's say your company headquarters is in New York, right? And you have like 50,000 devices. How much? 50,000 devices in New York. There is only one location. You don't have any branch offices. So only one location. All the computers are located in that location. So you need one single primary site to manage all these 50,000 devices. So this is called what? Small size architecture. Okay. Only one primary site. If you expanded your business, let's say now you have put up your branch offices in multiple locations. Let's say New York is your headquarter. This is your headquarter, and now you have branch office in let's say Mexico, then you have in London, and then you have in Mumbai. Mexico has 2000 devices, London has 3000 devices, and Mumbai has 4000 devices. And here you have 50,000 devices. So primary site is already there, right? We have already installed primary site for New York. For branch offices, we need a secondary site. We will have secondary site here, secondary site here, and secondary site here. And all secondary will report to primary like this. Okay. This is like for, this is for medium size company, medium size organization, right? Wherein you have one primary and multiple secondary. For big size organization, you will have multiple primary site. You will have multiple primary site, right? You will have like P1, primary site 1, primary site 2, and primary site 3, or maybe primary site 4 and all. But this is like, for big size company like Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, and you will have secondary site, right? The secondary will report to primary like this, and the primary will be managed by central administration site. So central will be sitting on the top of the hierarchy. So this is central. These are 3 primary sites and these are secondary sites. Okay. This is for big size organization, IBM, Deloitte, Accenture and all. Okay. Now, yesterday we had discussed more about these sites. Now today I will discuss about site roles. There are many roles in SCCM. Just like in Active Directory, those who are from Active Directory background, right, they know there are some roles, and those roles are called FSM roles in Active Directory, right? Similarly, in SCCM, we have multiple roles. First role is management point. Now, I want you guys to start making note of it. What is a management point? Management point is a communication bridge. So it will be like this one. You have your SCCM server. This is your SCCM server, right? And you have thousands and thousands of devices, right? Let's say you have 10,000 devices or 20,000 devices. We have to install client in all the devices, right? SCCM client needs to be installed in all the devices, right? You have to install client. Once the client is installed, the client cannot talk to SCCM server directly. Client cannot talk to the server directly. We have a console called management point. One component of SCCM server that is called management point. So client will always communicate through management point. It's a communication bridge between SCCM server and the client. So the first point of management point, we start making note of it, guys. Management point is what? It is a communication bridge between SCCM server and SCCM client. So client will talk to the management point to get the policy. So what all things it will do? It will get the policy. The client will get the policy from the management point. So point number 2, client gets policies from management point. So basically you create policy here and then you keep the policy here. All the policies are here, you know, all the policies are kept here and the client will get the policy from here. So the third point is management point is what? It is a policy keeper. It is a policy keeper. It keeps policies, right? All the policies. Let's say application deployment, Google Chrome. deployment, it's a policy. Firefox deployment, it's a policy. Software update deployment, it's a policy, right? Compliance baseline, it's a policy. So management point is what? It's a policy keeper. Point number 4, it collects inventory from the devices. It collects inventory from clients. So clients will send the inventory data. These clients will send the inventory data. Whatever the hardware and software present in this machine, whatever this hardware software present in machine, it is gonna send to the management point. Whatever the hardware software information present here is gonna send to the management point, right? So all the client will send the information to the management point, right? Now this computer does not have any client, so it will not be able to talk to the management point. Once you install the client, once the client is installed, then only it will be able to talk to the management point. Until and unless you don't have client, it will not talk to the server. So it collects inventory from client computers, right? Now what it does with the inventory, if whatever the inventory it collects, it is gonna store them into database, right? So point number 5 is it stores inventory into database. Okay. Point number 6, it is a mandatory role. You must install this. Some roles are optional, some roles are mandatory. Okay. It is a mandatory role. You must install this. Okay. Point number 7, where can you install this? Okay, management point can be installed. It can be installed on primary site. You can install on the same server. Suppose this is your primary site, you can install MP on the same server. Okay, primary site, you can install this on secondary site or any other separate Windows server. Okay, so let me summarize again. Point number 1, it's a communication bridge between the server and the client. Second point, the client gets policies from the management point. Third point, it is a policy keeper. Okay, policy keeper, sorry, it's a policy keeper. It keeps the policies. Then it collects inventory from the clients. The client will send the inventory data to the management point. Point number 5, what it does with the inventory, it saves them into the database, right? It saves them into the database. Point number 6, it's a mandatory role. Point number 7, it can be installed. You can install management point on primary site, secondary site, or any other Windows server. I hope it's clear, everyone. All good? Any question, guys?
Hey, Kasha. So
Yeah.
the last point that it can be installed to any other server. So how then, apart from primary or secondary, if you install to any other server, how can it talk to the other?
This, for example, this is your SCCM primary site server. Okay,
Correct.
you can have another separate server, that's another Windows server. Windows, and this is also Windows server, right? Okay, let's say this is server 1, this is server 2, right? Now you can build another server, a plain blank server, and then install MP on that role, on that server, management, just management point. So when you are installing it, you basically from a primary side, you add a new server. There is an option to add a new server. When you add a new server, it will ask you what role you would like to host on that server. So you will choose management point.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So then that role can be put put up here. Understood?
Okay.
So I hope you guys have written those points, that it's a policy keeper, it's a communication bridge between the server and the client. It keeps policies, right? It collects inventory. It collects inventory. Then it stores the inventory in the database, right? What else? It's a mandatory role. It's a mandatory role. Point number 6, it can be installed on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. Okay. I think these are the points we discussed about management point. Now, second point is distribution point. Second distribution point is like ATM, you know, like a convenience store. Suppose you have to get something, right? Let's say you are in you are in California. You are in California, right? In a remote location, for example, and Walmart is in the city, in New York City somewhere, right? And you need something in California, then what you do, you can go to a convenience store, the small store, um, and get your stuff from here. You don't have to travel back to Walmart. Similarly, if you have bank account in somewhere, right, you can go to the nearby ATM to withdraw cash. So the computer does the same thing. You will have distribution point for each location. For example, you have like 2000 devices in Mexico, right? So another like 3000 devices in London. 4000 devices in Mumbai, for example. And your main headquarter is in New York, right? Is in New York. New York also has like 50,000 devices. Okay, here you have 50,000 devices. So you have a distribution point here which is serving to these 50,000 devices. You will have a distribution point here which will serve to these devices, right? Another distribution point which will serve to these devices, and this distribution point will be in Mumbai, which will serve to these devices. So each location will have a distribution point. Distribution point contains what? Distribution point, it contains application files, right? Application files, then software update files, the update files, then operating system files. Okay, basically it contains all the content, the application software, the devices will be downloading the content from here. Okay, suppose Google Chrome is needed to be installed in all the Mexico computers, so we will put the Google Chrome installer here, and it will be downloaded from here. Google Chrome will be here, and it will be downloaded, all the machine will download from London distribution point, all the machine will download from Mumbai distribution point. Okay, so it contains what? It contains the application files, update files, operating system files. Point number 2 is what? Devices, whatever the devices, right? Let's say you have 20,000 devices or 200,000 devices. Devices will download content from distribution point. Mumbai will download from Mumbai distribution point. London devices will download from London distribution point. Mexico devices will download from Mexico distribution point. Point number 3, it's a mandatory role. Without this, you cannot install application because devices will not be able to download the content, right? Point number 4, where can you install this? It can be installed on primary site. You can install this on primary site. You can install this on secondary site. You can install this on any separate Windows server plus, sorry, any other Windows client computer. Client means Windows 10. You can install this on Windows 7 or Windows 10 as well. All clear, everyone? Any question in this distribution point?
Kashif,
Um,
just wanted to ask, means as you told that distribution point will generally it provides the update files and application file and whatever the stuffs required by the client. But from where that stuff came into distribution point, means how that will happen.
From, yeah, good point. So suppose, let me, New York has a distribution point, right?
Yeah.
Here, let me put it like this. Wait. So you will have SCCM server, right? SCCM server, let's say this is your primary site server, and that is located in New York. Understood? In New York, you have a primary site server. Now, what you do, you download the content from the vendor website, for example, Google Chrome, right? So you download this first, and after you download from the vendor website from Google, you then store it on a shared drive. Where? Shared drive or a network location or a filer on a source location, and then you upload it to SCCM console from the shared drive. Got it?
Okay.
And then from there you can distribute to all the distribution point, whatever the distribution point you have, 10
Okay.
or 100 of distribution point, you can distribute to all the distribution point.
So the
Regardless wherever they it will be present, means at any location.
Any location, yes.
so the first in the first phase, we have to distribute to the secondary server, right? Primary site from the
Yeah,
vendor
if
side, right? Yeah.
from vendor website you download, like we download application, right? Let's say
Correct.
Google Chrome, you go to Google Chrome website and download.
Correct.
Simple way, how we download application. Similarly, we download application and then we put it on a shared drive on a network filer
And from
location.
there we distribute it. Okay. Got
And
it.
then we upload it to SCCM console. Like SCCM is what? It is like a vehicle. Then we upload it to SCCM. And then from there, it will then pass on to all the distribution point. Understood? Clear?
Hello.
Yes.
Kashif, actually, see, we have multiple distribution points in the
Mhm.
primary side, right? So how,
In the
yeah,
uh,
see, even our primary side, even management controls. I mean, the server also in the distribution, the role is enabled on primary distribution. Distribution role is enabled. So how the client is calculate whether I have to take the application from Mexico distribution
right,
point or
right,
New Year distribution point.
right. Good question. That comes under boundary. We define boundary and site assignment. So we give like IP range, for example, Mexico IP range. So Mexico, let's say 10.1.1.1 to 10.1.1.250. So whatever the IP range is there, it should download from server 1. For example, this is server 1. So it will always download from here. Mexico computer. Similarly, London computer. Similarly, Mumbai computer. So you will have different IP range for different region. So we can do site assignment. Just like, suppose you are in Mumbai, you will go to Mumbai passport office to get your passport. If I am in Bihar, I will go to Bihar passport office. Okay,
Okay, fine.
understood. That comes in the boundary. We have option to define the client will understand to which site I have to take the content from.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, fine.
Okay, so again, let me reiterate this one. What is these things? Uh, Distribution point is what? Distribution point, it keeps contents. Point number 2, devices download. Okay, all the devices download from download what? Content from DP, distribution point. Point number 3, it's a mandatory role. Point number 4, you can install this on primary site, secondary site, or any other Windows server, or you can also install this on Windows 10 or Windows 7 computers. Clear, everyone?
Kashif, just one point want to ask you.
Mhm.
As you told that the SCCM server is present on the New York, and in Mexico, one DP is there, and other location one DP is there. So if a user is there, which is there in means our client is there in Mexico,
Mm.
so that particular client, if want any software, so that will come to the Mexico DP only. Means if
Yes,
in case that DP is not working, or means somehow the things will happen, so will it go to, means which DP it will select, the nearest one, or means how it will be?
good question, but I was about to cover this one in the next one. So let's say Mexico, right? Mexico has a DP, and
Hmm.
this DP goes down, right? Now the
Hmm.
clients in this Mexico, there are 2000 computers. They will not be able to get the content because the DP is down. Then we can in define that from where it can take the content if the DP is down. So it can either take the content from this one, or from the primary site itself, primary DP itself.
Acha.
Depends. That is also possible. Okay.
Okay. And one more point, just uh, for primary, for management point and distribution point, there is no dependency, anything means that needs to be there wherever we are just installing.
Yeah, yeah, no dependency. You can put them on a two different separate server. That's not a problem. You can put them together as well. No
Okay.
dependency.
Okay.
Now, software update point. Anyone from patch deployment background? WSOS patching? Anyone did software updates? No one? Ola, you? Okay, good. So software updates, what is software update? What is patching? What do you understand by patching? Hmm? Anyone?
Whenever any new version comes, then we have to update the patches, right?
New version. Okay.
Windows
Why?
update you are talking about,
Yes, Windows update. Windows or
right?
any general update. Windows, or in Android or iPhone you get update, right? And then you update your phone. Why do you do that? What is the benefit?
For the
What is
security,
right? So for when you deploy updates to any device, right? What happens? You either for security reason, because previous the current operating system might have some bugs, right? Or security holes. So we will update so that it will fix all those vulnerabilities. Plus bug fix. Bug fix means some issues, maybe some functionalities are not working, so it will fix those issues, right? Then
Additional
new
function.
feature, right? New features. You can add new features. If you install update, you might get new features, right? So basically these are some of the uh, points when you install updates either on mobile phones or on your Windows computers. Then it will help you to secure your computer. It will help you to fix bugs, plus it will add new feature, right? So software update is necessary because uh, these days there are so many cyber crimes happening. Almost every month you will hear that about cyber crimes. So like ransomware, right? Petya, then you had double kill, then blue keep. These are some vulnerabilities, right? So which hacked millions and millions of devices and encrypted files, and they were asking ransom from people to decrypt the file. So we don't want our systems to get hampered, right? So Microsoft recommends that whatever the Windows computers you have, you must update those computers on regular basis. Okay, let's say these are like 20,000 computers in different region, 40,000 computers in all over the globe I have. Now these 40,000 computers, I need to update them on regular basis. Microsoft is releasing updates. Microsoft is releasing update on second Tuesday every month. Every month they are releasing updates for its operating system, for its applications. They are releasing updates for its product. So whatever the product Microsoft has developed, they are releasing updates for those products every month, second Tuesday. Now they will release the update and they will put it on Microsoft Update Server. This is publicly available on internet, right? When you go to your computer, and let me just discard this. For example, if I do setting, right, and do update and security, and if I click on this, fix issues or uh, you know view update history. If I click on view update history, it is getting updates from where? From Microsoft Update. You see, these are the updates which got installed in my device in the month of November, right? From where it is coming? It is coming from Microsoft Update Server, right? So that is what it is happening in every. So suppose you have 40,000 computers. You can't ask people to go ahead and update your system one by one, because you will not have track how many system got update, how many system does not have update, right? How many systems are still in old version. So that is the reason what we need our internal server, right? We need WSUS. WSUS is Windows Server Update Services. This will be an internal server which will talk to Microsoft Update Server on the internet. It is going to talk with Microsoft Update Server, and from here it is going to bring all the updates, whatever the updates we need. Let's say I need update for Windows 10, I need update for Windows 7, I need update for Office, I need update for Visio, Project, SharePoint, SQL Server. So I'm going to get all the updates here on the internet, and then I can scan all the machines, whether these updates are needed on those machines or not, whether these updates are already installed, whether these updates are not required on these 40,000 computers, whatever the computers you have in your company, right? We will scan all the machines using WSUS. Now, since we are going to do through SCCM, so we will have SCCM server, and once the scanning is completed, right, we can have software update point. Software update point will help to integrate WSUS into SCCM. So whatever the WSUS collects information, it will pass on to SCCM, right? WSUS will get the information and then it will pass on to SCCM server, right? Finally, it reaches to SCCM server. And from here, you can deploy updates to these 40,000 computers. From SCCM, we will be able to deploy updates. That is the reason we need software update point. Software update point is to integrate WSUS into SCCM. Understood?
So it is a
Clear?
bridge between WSS and SCCM.
Right. It's a bridge between WSUS and SCCM.
Okay.
Whatever it comes
W
from WSS, then WSS will transfer it to
SCCM. Yeah.
SUP, software
Yes.
update point. And
Yeah.
then
WSUS will scan the computers. Will check how many systems are there. 40,000. Okay. How many updates are missing on these 40,000 computers? How many updates are already installed? How many updates are not required? It will then collect all the information and keep it in its database. WSUS will also have a database, and then it will pass on the information to SCCM basically. So SCCM is now SCCM knows, okay, let's say out of 40,000, 35,000 computers need updates. Then SCCM will deploy updates to these 35,000 computers. Understood? Yes, somebody was
WSS will
asking
take
a question.
only, yeah, WSS will take only for Windows updates, right? Not on apart from Windows. I mean, suppose if I want to update
Windows of,
something
if
or my
you
Google Chrome.
WSUS can take third-party update as well. But you have to configure just like Microsoft Update Server, right? WSUS by default connects to Microsoft Update Server. If you want your WSUS to connect to Google server, you need to give that information to WSUS that you need to connect to Google Update Server as well. So suppose Google Update Server. So you have to get the link and then configure that link in WSUS or in SCCM, right? And then it will start syncing the update. So similarly, you have to configure 7-zip update server, Firefox update server. That is possible, but only few companies are, you know, um, dumping updates to their server for WSUS to communicate. Only few, very few. Java
Okay,
is also there.
so that is
Yes.
not recommended, right?
No, you can do that.
You can do
If you
that.
have, you can do that. That's not a problem. But only few companies. I think hardly there are like 30 or 40 companies are there who have this update server configured so that WSUS can take the information,
Okay,
right?
okay, fine.
So software update point is what? It's a communication bridge. Communication bridge between SCCM and WSUS, right? Second, it is needed to uh, deploy updates to client machine. Okay, it is needed to deploy updates to client machine. Point number 3, it is an optional role. It is not mandatory. Why this is an optional role? Because some companies, they are using WSUS to deploy updates. They are not integrating WSUS into SCCM. They are using just standalone WSUS to deploy update as well. Point number 4, where can you install this? You can install this role in primary site server, a secondary site server, any other Windows server. Got it?
Kashif, just wanted to ask me, this SUP role is only just to install WSUS into the SCCM server, and after
Not
that,
install, not install, it's to integrate WSUS into SCCM.
okay, means other than that, after that, its role is finished. That much only.
Yes,
Acha, it will communicate. It will communicate also.
yeah, it will keep on communicating with WSUS. Without that, it won't be able to get information, right?
Ah, okay.
Now, fallback status point. Fallback status point is basically to collect, let's say, you have your primary site here, right? And primary site has a distribution point. Let's say in New York, this setup is there in New York in headquarter, and you have your branch office in different location, let's say Mexico, then you have London, right? And then you have Paris. Now you have DP here, distribution point here, all right? You have distribution point here and distribution point here. Now, if the devices in Mexico, right? Sorry, if the DP gets down in Mexico, the devices in Mexico will not be able to get the content. So automatically it can, if you define the fallback status point, the devices can communicate to either this or this or this. So you need to define, you have to install fallback status point. If you install fallback status point here, then the devices will get the content from here. If you install the fallback status point on primary, then the devices will get the content from here. So if you install fallback status point here on the primary one, then the distribution point is down here. So the devices will get the content from Mexico. Clear?
Generally, we install this fallback status point at the initial level to all the prime means locations, or
No,
only
no.
when
We
it.
install only on primary side. We
Acha.
can install on any other location as well. That's not a problem. But we generally install on primary side server so that devices, if the devices are not getting the content in the native location, they can communicate to the fallback status point. Okay.
So it's sort of a backup plan kind of thing, right?
Yes, alternate method. If this is not working, then devices can get from different location. Then you have management point. One more thing is management point. Let's say the devices are not able to communicate to the management point. Management point is what? It is collecting information. It's a communication bridge. Then this manage the devices in Mexico will not be able to communicate to management point. So devices can communicate to fallback status point to send the status message. What is the status message? Devices will send the status message to fallback status point. Status message is status message. Let's say you deploy something to 100 computers. Let's say Google Chrome. So when you deploy, first the program received, the computer will receive program. So that's the first status will be program received. That is the status. Second status, download content, right? It will download the content. Third status, it will start executing, execute. Fourth status is to post installation task, right? These are status messages. So each and every status message is basically collected by management point, but management point is down, so the devices can send the status message to fallback status point. Understood? Clear?
It means
So
it'll
first,
work as DP as well as means as MP also.
no. Don't get confused. It is, it's not the replica of DP and MP. Only a status message it is collecting. Status
Okay.
message.
Okay.
It is not like collecting inventory. MP is what? MP is collecting inventory, plus it is also giving policies, right? There are many things which MP is doing. It is just collecting a status message. Okay.
Means it's only collecting the information that Mexico DP and MP is not working.
Yeah, Mexico DPMP not working, then the devices can send the status message to fallback status point. Plus the devices can download the content from different location.
Okay.
Understood? So first point is um, status message. Basically, this is first point. It is an optional role. Second, devices gets devices get content from different distribution point if the native DP is down. Okay. Third point is the devices send a status message to fallback status point if management point is down. Okay. Point number 4, you can install this. Where will you install this? Install fallback status point on primary site. You can install this on secondary site or any other separate Windows server. Understood?
Yeah.
Any question, guys? It is an optional role. Devices get content from different DP. If the native distribution point is down, devices send a status message to fallback status point. If the MP is down, install fallback status point on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. Then these two roles are basically decommissioned. So I'm not going to talk about these roles. They are decommissioned. Okay. Previously we had these roles, but they are not there anymore. Understood? Clear?
Uh, excuse me, can you just talk about them briefly? You don't need to go into details, just for us to have an idea what they do, if that is okay.
Yeah, sure. Basically, these roles were needed to create website. First role, this role was needed to create website. What website? It will be an internal website, just like http://internalapp.com. Okay, so all your users can go to this website. And the second role is to connect this website with SCCM. Connect website with SCCM. So this website in the backend will get connected with SCCM. So from SCCM, you can dump all the application. You can publish application onto this website, just like Play Store, guys. You know, you keep all the applications on that website, and as and when somebody needs the application, they can go to that website and you will have install button here. You can choose the application and click on this install, it will get installed. Understood?
Yeah.
So, but these roles are decommissioned. Okay, I'll show you how the website looks. You see, this is how the website looks. So you will have an internal website link. All the people in your company, let's say 30,000 users or 40,000 users, they can go to the internal website and they will see all the application, because these applications are published by SCCM, right? For example, they need Microsoft OneNote. They will click on this and then they will click on install. It will get installed in their machine. Clear,
So
Ola?
why it is decommissioned? Like there's no use for now, or what?
Because they have now integrated in Software Center. So they instead of going to website, they have in in SCCM they have inbuilt software update, a software center application. So when you install SCCM client, Software Center gets installed. So you don't have to go to
Okay.
the website, you can go to the Software Center and get this thing done.
So Software Center replaced both of these two application catalogs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you have SMS provider. Okay, SMS provider is what? It is a communication bridge. The first point is what? It's a communication bridge between SCCM and database. Communication bridge between SCCM and database. So SCCM talks in WMI query language and database talks in SQL query language. These are two different languages. So we need some translator, right? So SMS provider is what? It's acting like a translator between SCCM and database. So it converts WMI query into SQL query and feeds into the database. Okay, that's the second point. It converts, first point, it's a communication bridge, right? Let me write it down. First point, it's a communication bridge between SCCM and database, right? Second point is it converts WMI query into SQL query. So whatever the WMI query we have, it will convert into SQL and then feeds into the database. That's the second point. And the third point, it can be installed on primary. You can install this on primary site server. Let's say you install SMS provider here itself. You can install this on secondary site server, or you can install this or any other. You can also install here in the database server. Okay, clear, everyone?
It's
So
just
point number one.
it's just a translator, simple. Converts
Yes.
WMI to
Yes.
SQL. Yeah.
Yes, because there are two different languages. If Ijaz, if you speak French and I know English, then we both will not be able to communicate. We need a translator, right?
Got it.
So SMS provider, it's a communication bridge between the SCCM and database. Then it is a translator. Third, it converts WMI into SQL and vice versa. WMI into SQL, SQL into WMI. Okay, and you can install this. Point number 4, you can install this on primary site, secondary site, You can install this on database server or any other Windows server. Point number 5 is it is a mandatory role. Without this, you cannot install SCCM. It's a mandatory role. Okay, clear? Then we have asset intelligence synchronization point. At asset intelligence synchronization point, it is needed for categorization of software. Let's say you have thousands and thousands of software installed in your computers. So it can categorize software like this. Some software falls under browser category, some software falls under player, some software under database, some software under developer category. So it will help you to categorize the software. That is the first point. It is required to categorize software. Second point, it does inventory. It finds out the how many software installed in the computers, what all software present in the computer. It does the inventory as well. Plus it manages license. Okay, so it will give you information about license, how many license you have consumed, how many licenses is free, right? It will give you the computer names where the license is being utilized. So it does what? It does inventory and the managed software license using all computers. Usage, license usage in all computers, right? Where can you install this? You can install this on primary or secondary or any other Windows server. It is an optional role, guys. It is not mandatory. It is an optional role. Any question in this one?
Just a quick one. Is the license management the role of an SCCM engineer or managed by somebody else?
Basically, we will have a procurement team in companies, and they are basically managing all the licenses. But if they need help from SCCM team to find out where is this license key is being utilized, SCCM team can identify using asset intelligence synchronization point that where that software license is being utilized. It will check all the computers and will give the data. Understood?
It's an optional one.
Optional. It is an optional rule. It is not mandatory. Endpoint protection. You have Windows Defender, right? In computers. In order to manage Windows Defender, we can use this endpoint protection point. This endpoint protection point, it is required to install and manage antivirus on target machine. Let's say you have thousands and thousands of Windows 10 machines, and you would like to manage antivirus on those machines, right? It cannot manage third-party antivirus, only the inbuilt antivirus, the Windows Defender. So you can do that through endpoint protection point role, and then it can be installed on primary side, secondary side, or any other Windows server. It is an optional role. Okay, basically you can define when the scanning will happen, when the what will happen if it finds any virus, right? How the files will be quarantined, right? There are many options available when the devices, when the antivirus will get updated, right? Those things you can define in endpoint protection point role, and the devices will get those policies.
So, Kashif, when you say the so many optional things, it's not mandatory, but we need to protect the client computers and we need the antivirus and all that. So if it is optional and we didn't use it, then what happened if something?
Antivirus, mostly why I'm saying optional is because in production environment, wherever you go, you will find third-party antivirus like Symantec or Norton or AVG or Trend Micro. So people are not using the native Windows Defender antivirus. Okay, but in case if you would like to use it, you can manage antivirus through this endpoint protection point role.
Okay, got it.
Then you have reporting services point. It is required to connect report server and fetch reports from the database, because we will have our reports here. All our reports, there are 470 reports which are created by Microsoft and kept it here, like deployment report, collection report, application report, program report, collect. There are 471 reports are there. Now, every time we have to go to database to access the report. Rather, I don't want to go to the database. Rather, I would like to access it from SCCM itself. So we need to install reporting services point so that the reports will get integrated into SCCM. So we'll be able to access all the reports from SCCM itself rather than going to the database. Clear? Where will you install? It can only be installed on the database server. So reporting services point can only be installed here. And it is a mandatory role. Why mandatory? Because without report, you will not be able to, track what happened when you deploy application. What is the status? Clear?
Yeah.
Service connection point. Service connection point. Basically, it keeps. This is a little outdated. Wait. Okay, so service connection point is what it is. Basically, it keeps SCCM up to date. So whatever the updates are released by Microsoft for SCCM, only for SCCM, okay, not general update I'm talking. SCCM, let's say today it is today it is 2002, for example. Tomorrow it will be 2006, right? 2010. Next year it will be 2102. So in order to update your SCCM, we need service connection point. Let's say today you are on this one, you would like to go on to this one or onto this one. So you need service connection point, which will keep on checking with Microsoft Update Server. If any new update is available, it will say yes, 2010 is available. Then it will give you a notification. You can download and install. So it is required to keep your SCCM up to date. Second, it is required to connect to Microsoft cloud services like Microsoft Azure cloud services like Azure, right? Uh, Office 365. You can uh, install service connection point that will help you to communicate to Microsoft cloud services. It can be installed on primary and central administration side. Got it? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now the last role is this one, state migration point. It is required while migration of operating system. Suppose you are migrating operating system from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and when you are migrating, you also would like to capture the user data. Suppose Ejaz was using this computer and he used this computer for 2 years. He has his files here in Windows 7 computer. Now he would like these files to be migrated to Windows 10, the new machine which Ejaz is getting. He is getting, this is his old machine and the new machine is Windows 10. So before we format this machine, we will capture these data. We will capture it. And then once the migration is done, I mean, once he gets the new machine, we will restore all these data, whatever the data we had on Windows 7. So Ejaz will not lose any data. Understood? It will only capture user profile, not the system profile, guys. Only user profile. So it captures the user profile before the migration and restores after the migration. It can be installed on primary site, secondary site, or any other Windows server. It is an optional role. Okay?
Yeah.
Any question, guys?
It will be used only at the time of migration.
Migration, yes. It won't be if you don't need migration or if you don't need to capture, you don't need to install this. Simple. So today we talked about site roles, guys: management point, distribution point, software update point, fallback status point, SMS provider, asset intelligence, endpoint protection, reporting services, service connection point, and state migration point. Okay, I had sent one URL, couple of URLs to you guys yesterday. I want you guys to go through that. Okay, clear?
Yeah, you will share all these slides into SharePoint, right?
Yeah. Did you go through the URL, the one which I sent yesterday? Let me send it again if you guys have not gone through that. You take it again. Done. I just sent it. Okay.
So
Any
these
question
URL,
before we wrap it up?
so these URL will help us in understanding all these roles again, right?
Right. So this has more information about the roles and sites. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to go through that.
Okay.
This training is based on SCCM 2002, right? I mean,
Yeah,
version.
the latest, the 2002.
But our latest version is 2010.
But 2010 is still not in the production. Plus, 2010 will have what? Will have little bit more features. That's it.
That's
The
it, right?
platform is same. Yeah.
Same.
One more question. I believe it's not going to be theory based. We're going to do hands-on on practical and co. If that is the case, are you going
Yes.
to?
Yes,
Yeah.
practical. Everything is practical. You see, we will go with lab setup. You have it.
Okay.
Lab
All right.
setup on a local computer, or we will go on Azure Cloud Data Center. Every one of you will have to set up your own SCCM lab. Either you do it on laptop or on cloud.
Okay. That's fine.
And I'll guide
Okay.
you step by step how you go about it. Okay.
Okay. Is it going to cover architecture? Like maybe you've been
Yes.
employed to design the. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you guys for joining the session. I hope the session was informative, and we'll meet tomorrow, guys. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Karthik, what you
Kashif.
let me, this is my number. This is my number, 9892354331, WhatsApp number.
Yeah, okay.
Ola,
Okay.
Ola, are you
that's
on
fine.
WhatsApp?
Yes, I'm on WhatsApp. I'll send you a message now.
Yeah, this is my number. +91 is the country code, India. Then
Okay.
989 235 4331.
Okay.
Yeah, I will ping you.
So if you
Akshay.
send me a WhatsApp hi message, then I will add you to the WhatsApp group, guys.
Group.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
fine. Yes.
Okay.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
an email to you later. I'll call you later today, Ashley.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.